Something is about to change in how America remembers itself. Oh, there's panic in D.C. No question of that. Not in a headline, not in a speech, but in the very places where our past is preserved, where millions of people walk through the front doors expecting to see history just as it happened. But that's not what we had, is it? Well, now a nightmare scenario unfolding at museums across D.C., and Trump is directly involved in this. Behind the scenes, a review underway. One that could quietly rewrite what future generations believe about this country, because history's already been rewritten, hasn't it? And it's not happening decades from now. It's happening right now. Do you know why? Do you know what's happening? Do you know what's going on? Did you know why so many are losing their ever-loving minds over it? Well, that's the story I'll bring you in 1 minute. First, I wanted to bring you this horrific and violent scene out of Washington, D.C. The National Guard is out of control, torturing citizens, walking down the street, causing anarchy and chaos. Just look at what's happening. Look at the mess and the disaster. The left warned us that this was going to happen. Of course, I'm joking, because nothing that they said was going to happen happened. Well, of course it wouldn't. Never expected it to, did you? But we can ask them what their opinion is. I mean, simple questions like this.
That's what the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor?
That's right. That I know you've probably heard the clip, but it can't go without saying. Do you understand? Do you know what the chain of command is now? What does that mean? Who did they ask that question to? The Washington, D.C. Police Chief, Pamela A. Smith, doesn't know what chain of command means. No idea why we have a problem with law enforcement. But at least Trump knows what chain of command means and knows what law and order means. And so far, in his crackdown, that all the dissension you saw in the street there from the National Guard, already 23 arrests made on the first day. That's what law and order looks like. Let's just start at the chain of command. Trump would be on top, okay? He's numero uno, big boss man. Just pretty simple concept, I know. Simple concepts escaped some on the left. But we have many things that are actually progressing now, including some crybabies out in Texas, because the Texas Senate has officially passed the new U.S. House maps, and the Democrats stormed out. Get quiet again. See what they do when they don't get what they want. They just cry and storm out. The Dems are big mad, as Nick Sorter put it. Now all it needs is House approval, and Republicans could ultimately pick up 5 U.S. House seats. Can't see why they're big mad, but this is only the preamble to the biggest story of the day, right? One of many big stories. Also, as a confirmation of what we've reported on, I told you more than likely Zelensky, another little crybaby Zelensky, wasn't going to be at the Alaska meeting, and Caroline Leavitt goes and confirms it for us.
And the president said at this podium yesterday when he joined all of you in the room that he hopes in the future there can be a trilateral meeting with these 3 leaders to finally bring this conflict to an end. But this administration has really used every lever, has taken every measure.
That there can be a trilateral meeting, but this one won't be. This will be a face-to-face Trump and Putin. Oh, Zelensky, when you go and say you're not going to cede anything and you're just simply going to be stubborn and listen to all your war puppets only, then you're going to not be invited to the meeting. It was pretty simple to determine that. Not that advanced of journalists to figure that out. So you won't be there. And I know you're going to cry over that, and we're going to have to listen to that for the next week, or at least until Friday. And in other updates, the fight that would never happen appears now it's been confirmed. The UFC is going to have a cage fight in Washington, D.C. White House cage fight is going to happen, says UFC boss. Dana White's Octagon behemoth gets a monster new $7.7 billion deal with Paramount, and the promoter says the event's going to happen on the South Lawn for all you UFC fans before, again, we get to the big story. You know, there's multiple big stories today. One I'm going to do exclusively over at Restricted, because if you don't know what's going on in California with this, it's a tricky little son of a gun here. AB 495. I follow California really close because California is kind of the proving and testing grounds for things that will impact the nation later on. Because if you ever want to get a really leftist law through, you start in California. You test it there, see what people will fall for, pass it, and then pass it through to the rest of the nation. And if you don't know what AB 495 is, whoa, you want your parental rights stripped away? You want government in your house? Pass AB 495. Parental freedoms are gone. Oh, don't worry, it's shrouded in we're the government, we're here to help as always. And I'm going to cover that later today. Love you to go to Restricted Republic. If you're there already, don't worry, it will be exclusive there later this afternoon. Restricted Republic's, of course, the home platform for Lisa Haven and myself. That is our news platform. We'd love to always have you there. Monthly, annual subscriptions. While you're here, love you to always make sure you're subscribed. You all help me to defeat the algorithm and, again, get this channel growing. And I owe a great deal of gratitude to each and every one of you for helping to make that happen. Thank you so very much. It keeps us moving forward, keeps the news growing. And now, again, everybody, to all the new members who join here, to all the new subscribers, welcome home. This is Restricted Republic. This is the news platform we created for you in a style I hope you enjoy, because we work very hard at it. And there's many things to keep us moving forward. One of those is sponsors. And there's nothing I appreciate more than sponsors where my own subscribers write me and say, thank you. They work. One is Chapter. I don't know if you've ever tried to find Medicare for a loved one or yourself. It's tricky, right? There's a ton of options. You need to be an expert to even attempt to get through it. A lot of people say, I have the best plan, Justice. And you might, or you might not. And so what I have here is a free phone call you can make. 805-619-5011. 805-619-5011. You see it on the screen. What happens when you call that number is you get a hold of Chapter. They're licensed Medicare professionals. You get a live person, not a bot. They go through all the options in your area with you. They determine if you have the best plan or not. If you do, great. It's a free phone call. It doesn't cost you anything. If you don't, they present the options to you. You can decide maybe there's a better option out there. What a better way to see if you can save some money. The average person who calls Chapter saves $1,100 a year. My audience has already saved thousands on top of thousands of dollars for making a free phone call to 805-619-5011. That's a heck of an opportunity. In a system that's designed to continually take from you, it's time to take something back, hence why I partnered with Chapter. Love you to call them. Now, you see the number on your screen, but now, let's get back to this broadcast. So how many of you remember this? America's 250th birthday is coming up. President Trump drops a cultural bombshell, and the left goes insane. Of course they do, because the left likes revisionist history. Trump's not cutting ribbons. He's planning fireworks. He's ordering a top to bottom review. Review of what, you might ask? A review of every Smithsonian museum in the country. Why? Fairly simple. Because in his view, and my view, some of the stories being told under those marble rooftops don't reflect the truth. Not our pride, not of an American journey, of now revisionist history. And you think it's just about a few artifacts around? Nah, think again. So America's 250th birthday, around the corner. He puts out what is a letter to the Smithsonian. Internal review of Smithsonian exhibits and materials. And I'm going to give you a summation of what this is all about and why this is so important. You think big drama would be which founding father gets the biggest fireworks show, right? Nope. Nope. Who gets the biggest seat for the parade? Nope. Not at all. President Trump drops a cultural grenade. Of course he does. He's good at it, isn't he? He's ordered a top-to-bottom review every museum in the country, not just D.C. And before you think it's about dusting off a few artifacts, replacing a few broken light bulbs, nah, not so much. This is about something much bigger. Something that's going to have both the left and the mainstream media, well, already frothing at the mouth. Then I could show you article after article. White House reviewing Smithsonian exhibits to ensure alignment when Trump's direction. Trump administration to review 19 Smithsonian museums to ensure exhibits are patriotic. Oh, how dare you be patriotic. White House announces Smithsonian review amid Trump's cultural reckoning, and it goes on and on and on. Of course it does. So I'll go on. Here's the rundown. March 31st, Trump signs an executive order called Restoring Truth and Sanity, which I showed you right there, to American history. We've had enough of ideological history lessons. No more revisionist history. Time to bring back the true story of America. Pretty simple. Fast forward now, he orders a sweeping review of the museums to align with actual history. Again, fairly simple concept. The National Museum of African History and Culture, the National Museum of Natural History, the National Museum of American History, the National Museum of American Indian, the National Air and Space Museum, the Smithsonian American Art Museum, the National Portrait Gallery, the Sculpture Garden. I'm sure I'm missing a couple in that list. Each of these have 30 days to hand over their exhibit content for review and 120 days to make changes. And Trump's people are looking for three big things out of this. Celebrate American exceptionalism, remove divisive narratives, and make sure history is factually accurate without a side of ideological dressing. And the left is going insane over this. This story to me is important. A lot of people would wonder, why isn't this being covered? Because people actually don't view history as important. History is extremely important because without it, you have no identity. And when you change the identity of my country, I take exception with that. When you pull down my statues, I take exception with that because what you're doing is removing the identity of a country. You're making it the melting pot that they overuse, by the way. You tear down my borders, and then I have no identity. And look what happened to our country. And we're bringing it back. So let's go back. This is not whitewashing history, okay? It's about taking the ideological mop, cleaning everything up, and going back to what history was meant to be. So promote American exceptionalism. That's crazy, right? Fringe idea that America has achieved some pretty incredible things that are worth celebrating, and the left doesn't like that. Reason two, push back on partisan narratives. Because if you've visited some of these museums and some of these exhibits, you might walk away thinking the country is one long, unbroken chain of oppression, systemic failure, and bad haircuts, right? Conservatives say, hold up, yes, we've made mistakes. But maybe balance that with the moon landing, defeat of tyranny, Marshall Plan, the internet, the iPhone, and maybe you got some wins. I know the moon landing is going to be controversial with some of you. I get it. Haha. Okay, we'll move on. Reason three, preserve accuracy over ideological framing. Could be a little tricky. Present history as it happened, not how the modern political climate wished it had happened. Two completely different things. Again, people will struggle with that. Reason four, prepare for the 250th anniversary of this great nation. A once-in-a-lifetime chance to put a unified story of America's journey for the whole world to see. That's a big preparation. Instead of watching dueling narratives argue over whether the Founding Fathers were heroes or villains in powdered wigs. Which is it going to be? What are we going to show the world? Trump's going to fix that. before the anniversary. That is a big task. The review isn't about dusty display cases. It's about who gets to write America's next chapter, and guess who's in the driver's seat? Trump is involved in the change. Trump is involved in what's happening right now. And that is why there's panic in D.C., because the man at the helm is orange man bad. And they are freaking the hell out. A nightmare scenario for them. The man that they claimed caused J6 is writing the 250th anniversary script for the world to see. My friends, that is a nightmare. And it should not go unnoticed. This isn't censorship, this is stewardship. Don't let the mainstream media confuse you. Don't let articles like Vanity Fair, Smithsonian minimizes Trump's double impeachment display, or Trump's attack on the Smithsonian marks an astonishing new low, or White House announces more aggressive review of Smithsonian's museums, or critics see Trump's attack on the Black Smithsonian as an effort to sanitize racism in U.S. history, or Trump targets anti-American ideology at Smithsonian museums. As you are going to see this speed up. I just picked out a few from March till now. Yeah, I get passionate about this. If you think this review is just about history, you haven't been paying attention. It's not. It's about the cultural scoreboard. Whoever shapes the exhibits shapes how future generations think about this country, hell, this century. In an election cycle, that's a battleground all by itself. Love him or hate him, Trump understands. President Trump understands something that far too many leaders forget. Culture eats politics for breakfast. Understand that statement. Culture eats politics for breakfast. Why do you think they want to remove culture? Because then politics destroys culture. Why do you think they ripped down every statue they could? They want to remove culture. They want to remove life. This review is his way of making sure America's story doesn't get told by the loudest activist in the rooms, but by the nation itself, by we the people, our culture, our country, not the politicians in Washington, D.C. When our anniversary rolls around and the cameras are rolling, we'll find out whose version of America made the cut. Because at the end of the day, the story we tell about ourselves is the country we become. So God bless America and God bless we the people. This is our country. And Orange Band bad on their side of the aisle, or President Trump on the other side of the aisle, is helping us to take it back. I love you all. Can't wait to see your comments below. Before I now move on to what will be the AB 495 Trojan horse of how the government gets into your home, strips away your parental rights, takes away your stewardship over your children, and masks it in the "we're the government and we're here to help." I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Night. Signing out.